वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् शृण्वतां स्वगतः कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृदयन्तस्थो ह्यः भद्राणि विधुनोति सुहृत्सताम् अष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवतसेवया भगवति उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी. Today reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 22, verse 58, 59 and 60. Text 58. Varsati sma yada kamam parjanya iva tarpayan samudra iva durbodha satvenchala satvenchalarad iva varsati pouring sma used to yada kamam as much as one can desire parjanya water iva like tarpayan pleasing samudraha the sea iva like an Durbodha, not understandable, Satvena by existential position, Achala, the hills, Rativa, like the king of. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation. Just as rainfall satisfies everyone's desires, Maharaja Prutu used to satisfy everyone. He was like the sea in that no one could understand his depths, and he was like Meru, the king of hills, in the fixity of his purpose. Purport. Maharaja Prithu used to distribute his mercy to suffering humanity, and it was like rainfall after excessive heat. The ocean is wide and expansive, and it is very difficult to measure its length and breadth. Similarly, Prithu Maharaja was so deep and grave that no one could fathom his purposes. The hill known as Meru is fixed in the universe as a universal pivot, and no one can move it in inch from its position. Similarly, no one could even dissuade Maharaja Prithu when he was determined. 59. धर्मरादिव शिक्षायाम् आश्चर्ये हिमवान् इव कुबेर इव कोसाध्यो गुप्तो रथो वर्णो यथा Dharmarativa, like the Yamaraja, the superintendent of death, Siksayam in education, Ashtarya in opulence, Himavaniva, like the Himalaya mountains, Kuveraha, the treasurer of the heavenly planet, Iva, like Kosajayaha, in the matter of possessing wealth, Guptaha, Arthaha, secrecy, Varunaha, the demigod named Varuna, Yata, like Maharaja Prithu's intelligence and education were exactly like that of Yamaraja, the superintendent of death. His opulence was comparable to the Himalaya mountains, where all valuable jewels and metals are stocked. He possessed great riches like Kuvera, the treasurer of the heavenly planets, and no one could reveal his secrets, for they were like the demigod Varunas. Purport. Yamaraja or Dharmaraja, as a superintendent of death, has judged the criminal living entities who have committed sinful activities throughout their lives. Consequently, Yamaraja is expected to be the most expert in judicial matters. Prithu Maharaja was also highly learned and exceeding exact in delivering his judgment upon the citizens. No one could excel him in the opulence any more than estimated the stock of minerals and jewels in the Himalaya mountains. Therefore, he is compared to Kubera, the treasurer of heavenly planets. Nor could anyone discover the secrets of his life any more than they learned the secrets of Varuna, the demigod presiding over the water, the night, and the western sky. Varuna is omniscient, and since he is prayed for his forgiveness, he is prayed to for forgiveness. He is also the sender of disease and is often associated with Mitra and Indra. Text 60. Matara Shiva- Matara Shiveva Sarvatma Balena Mahasujasau Avisahyatyo Devo Bhagavan Bhutara Diva Matra Shiva, the air, Iva like Sarvatma, all pervading, Balena by bodily strength, Mahasa Ojasa by courage and power, Avishyataya by intolerance, Devaha the demigod, Bhagavan the most powerful, Bhutara Diva like Rudra or Sadativa. In his bodily strength and in the strength of his senses, Maharaj Prithu was as strong as the wind. which can go anywhere and everywhere. As far as tolerance was concerned, he was just like all powerful Rudra, expansion of Lord Shiva or Sadashiva. Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Pashadesatarine Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna everyone. I would like to seek blessings from all Yasamal Vaishnavas and thank you for giving me an opportunity to purify myself. Please forgive me for any shortcoming or adding my own interpretation. I would like to briefly summarize a few points from the lecture given by Chaitanya Charan Prabhus. As we continue to see the qualities of Maharaja Prithu, even yesterday also we have seen. Today he's been compared to that of Yamaraja, who is the master of karma and the superintendent of death. And he was responsible for judging the actions of individuals and dispensing the appropriate reactions. Yamadharmaraja also considered one of the 12 Mahajana, embodying the qualities of a perfect personality worth of emulation. We also see his judgments are considered as impartial and based on the principles of Dharma. He was employed by Lord Krishna to fulfill this role. We also see that Maharaja Prithu was also compared with the other qualifications of Kubera, who was benevolent guardian of wealth. He's a protector of treasurers and dispenser of the prosperity. He's often depicted with a money bag or a jar overflowing with gems, symbolizing his role in distributing the wealth. We also see his importance of spiritual riches. While we know Kubera is also known for material wealth, he is also associated with spiritual riches. The gems he is often depicted with represent not only material wealth but also to seek a balance between material and spiritual pursuits. He is a symbol of authority and protection. Kubera often carries a club, a symbol of authority and protection, emphasizing his role as a guardian of treasurers, ensuring that the wealth is fairly distributed. Sorry. The third one that we also see is he was compared with that of Varuna. Now we can see both Varuna and Prithamaraja both powerful and yet associated with order, justice, and governance. Even though they operate on different planes, they are one as a god of cosmos. Even though they operate on different planes, one as a god of cosmos, another as human king striving to bring order to his kingdom. Let's move on to some of the purport that I heard. Let's look at the importance of the Bhagavad Gita chapter 7 sloka 1, and let's look at this in reverse order. And by following the six stages, as mentioned the uh, sloka, one will attain perfection. One which is Shrono. By hearing what will happen, we keep on hearing regularly. Then Gnasyasi Samagram. We will know Krishna, Sri Krishna properly. We will know him completely. Samagram. And when we will know Sri Krishna properly, then you can attain the perfection. Asamsayam. We will become free from doubts. The more knowledge increases, the doubt decreases. They get clarified and they get removed and they get purified. Ashayaha. Then you will also understand actually who the Sri Krishna is. Suridam Sarvabhutanam is the greatest well wisher. Sri Krishna is the ultimate object of my love, so naturally, what will I do is I will take shelter of him. Ashraya Madatrayaha. When we wake, when we will take shelter of Krishna. Yogam Yunjan. Shelter of Krishna is not just some abstract conception. It is a practical action so that it is Yogam Yunjan. We practice devotional service through Yogam Yunjan. Last but not the least, Asakta Manaha. And what happened by practice of devotional service? our mind will become attached to Lord Krishna. By following these six stages, one will attain perfection. Ashaktamanaha, one will attain perfection. This is what Sri Krishna is talking in this verse. Let's let's also see another sloka from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9. Sorry, chapter 7, sloka 9. He says, Sri Krishna can give different abilities to different people at different capacities of austerity to certain people. So so when we see certain people with certain attributes, we should not become envious of seeing those attributes in people. But we should see that those attributes are coming from Krishna. That way we can make our spiritual advancement by connecting everything with Krishna. Let's look at one of the example that what is given here. The important thing that we see is about Jivanam Sarva Bhuteshu. Is actually a life and death is not in our hands. Like we treat doctors, but it is God who heals. Doctor can do surgery, give medicines, whatever else is required, but ultimately medicine is not an exact science. Exact science is the way we take this chemical mix with another chemical, then exactly get this result. But in medical science, doctors say you would take this medicine, you will be cured. But everyone is not cured by taking that medicine. Different people have different backgrounds who knows what infection they have and how one thing interact with other internally and produce certain results. We can't say that this is why there are many examples of people who got small disease which can be easily cured. But it becomes so severe that the person dies despite of best medicines and best doctors. And on the other hand, someone will have terrible disease and the doctor says that you're going to die in 6 months. And that person lives long and attends the funeral of the doctor, which is the reverse way of what we see here. So that person outlives the doctor. So how does it happen? Life and death are ultimately not in our hands. They are ultimately given by Lord Sri Krishna. Lord Sri Krishna is the giver of the life. He's ultimately taker of life. So it is not that Sri Krishna has a vengeance against someone, so Krishna takes life, but the karmic reactions of every soul are given by different ways of Krishna. And again, Prabhupada says that the Krishna consciousness is active in every sphere. So it is interesting, Srila Prabhupada personifies Krishna consciousness here. So instead of saying we can be active in Krishna consciousness in every sphere, Srila Prabhupada is saying Krishna consciousness is active in every sphere. That means capacity for Krishna consciousness is latent in every sphere. So we have to just utilize the capacity, and we utilize the capacity, we can be Krishna conscious also. The author describes the importance of the Chatushloki, which are the four important verses in Bhagavad Gita. It is actually classified into two text 8 and 9 and 10 and 11. 8 and 9 says, text 8 says, cultivating knowledge and practicing wholehearted devotion. And text 9, offering their entire being through body, mind, and words. Text 10 briefly outlines providing knowledge to help in choosing wisely and attaining Lord Krishna. Text 11 says, dissipating the darkness of ignorance with the torchlight of the knowledge. Let's look at the little detailed analysis as given by the speaker. The Chatushloki first half defines God as a source, sustainer of everything, identifies him as Krishna. Knowledge of Krishna is profoundly transformational, inspiring us to devote ourselves to him. Devotion synergizes the head and the heart by providing both a common object of foremost value, Krishna, who removes our impurities and unleashes our individuality. Devotees don't just think about Krishna, they also make him the home for their thoughts, finding therein security, purity, and joy. Devotion is not just an emotion, it is essentially the dedication of our entire life. Devotees delight in speaking about Krishna, sharing their devotion with other devotees, and relishing his glories, as seen from various perspectives. The Chatushloki Gita reflects the reciprocal dynamism of Bhakti Yoga, describing how devotees lovingly offer their everything to Krishna and how Krishna provides them everything they need for their journey towards purification and liberation. The Chatushloki's description of Bhakti Yoga as a personal reciprocation between divinity and humanity is vividly illustrated in the Krishna Arjuna relationship. Devotion engages our mind, body, and words, providing us with fulfilling contemplation, contribution, and connection. To relish Krishna's reciprocation through Bhakti Yoga, practice it with affection, not with negative emotions such as fear or guilt. When we serve Krishna affectionately, he lovingly reciprocates by giving us the dynamic intelligence to choose wisely and unite with him. Krishna illuminates the hearts of the devoted with the torchlight of knowledge, thus helping them advance from darkness to light. Knowledge can initiate and stimulate our devotional journey towards Krishna, but if lack of knowledge impedes our journey, Krishna reciprocates with our devotion to provide the necessary knowledge. Let me say one last thing about the importance of chanting of 16 rounds, as mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada says that the Krishna conscious movement prescribes the 16 rounds daily because people in the Western countries cannot concentrate for long periods while chanting on the beats. Therefore, the minimum number of rounds is prescribed. However, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur used to say that unless one chants at least 64 rounds of japa, which is equal to 100,000 names, he is considered fallen, patita. According to this calculation, practically every one of us is fallen. But because we are trying to serve the Supreme Lord with all seriousness and without duplicity, we expect the mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is famous as Patita Pavana, the deliverer of the fallen. So it is a concession made by Srila Prabhupada for devotees who cannot concentrate for long periods. While chanting on beats, that is why he always used to add the word minimum before 16 rounds. So devotees should know when they are chanting a minimum of 16 rounds every day and should aspire to always chant extra rounds as and when they find any spare time from their practical devotional service. Not that I would reveal myself of the burden of the beat bag for a day as another finished 16 rounds. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur explains that the Prema Ruruksu devotee, those who earnestly strive for ascending up to the region of Prema, chant about 192 rounds daily. If were to chant each round in 7.5 minutes, the 192 rounds will fill up in 24 hours, leaving him no time to eat, sleep, earn a livelihood, or even go to the toilet. If one were to speed up his chanting and complete with each round with 5 minutes, his chanting would still take 16 hours, leaving him only 8 hours daily for sleeping, earning a livelihood, commuting, etc. The point is that for most people, this much chanting is not possible. But still, it is described by Srinivasacharya, Sankhya Purvaka Namagana, that one must maintain numerical strength while chanting the holy names. Therefore, Srila Prabhupada has mercifully fixed up a number of at least 16 rounds of Hare Krishna chanting daily for us. This is a number which can practically be accomplished on a daily basis along with our other numerous material duties. He encouraged us to he encouraged us to also to increase our chanting beyond 16 rounds as far as our daily schedule follows. To become perfect in chanting, we must obey the spiritual master's orders. Therefore, at least 16 rounds, as mentioned by Srila Prabhupada, a daily of Japamala must be completed. If we are at all serious about attaining spiritual perfection, the disciples are always encouraged to chant more if possible, but not less. I would like to stop here. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to purify myself, and I would like to seek blessings if I misrepresent